Hi guys, welcome and mabuhay from Philippines. Welcome back to my channel Remedy Official Vlogs. And what I have for you today is a different kind of review. A different gear for you. It's an earbud from BGVP, the DX6. This unit was sent from Pickup Audio, and I would like to give thanks to Pickup Audio for sending me this one free of charge. Don't be dismayed or don't worry, because my impressions will still remain unbiased and as honest that I can, and of course as a musician's perspective. Now let's get a move on. This is the box of BGVP DX6. It's quite thick. This is my hand, so it's almost as wide as my hand, but I have small hands even for a pianist. And I would like to show you the inclusions. We have a documentation. It's a very good art from BGVP, something floral and very artistic. And we have a very good size carrying case and a good color, as you can see. Yes. And we have some earphones, two black ones and two colored, red and blue. And we have some modular plugs. This is a very surprising treat from BGVP. Yes, the cable that comes with it is modular. And we have some ear hooks. Here we go. And we have a clip. And we have the cable. Here's the cable. Yes, there we go. The 3.5 is installed here. And we have the buds themselves, the BGVP DX6. Yeah. It's teal in color. Yes, it has a good weight. Yes, and I really love it. So for more detailed unboxing, I will link down my full review. Now, I think it's worth mentioning that I'm not well versed when it comes to earbuds, and this is the first time that I will review earbuds. It's not the first time that I've tried earbuds. I'm sure everyone else have tried buds sometime in their lives, right? So, but as a reviewer, this is my first time. So please do bear with me, and I have no other buds to compare it to, except that I will compare some of the factors that you should consider concerning IEMs, which I am accustomed to, and earbuds. And surprisingly, the whole experience of earbuds for me is quite an eye-opener. So if you want to know my experience on it, please do watch on. Now moving on, I would like to give you a background on the configuration of the DX6. Okay, it has one dynamic driver, an LCP, like a liquid crystal polymer. And the size of the driver is 14.2 millimeters, and it has an impedance of 32 ohms and a sensitivity of 122 dB. Quite sensitive if you ask me. And the frequency response is 10 Hz to 40 kHz. Now moving on to the sound impressions of the DX6. This is a very different experience for me, and I would just like to be honest on how my experience went on. So it is a different nature, it's a different character compared to IEMs. Starting with the lows. The lows are a bit light here, on the lighter side of things. I don't know if because earbuds only sit right outside our ear holes or earlobes, rather than IEMs that go inside, which gives a very more solid or more prominent bass. So what I noticed on the bass of the DX6, while it exhibits good texture, it quickly drowns compared to the other frequency, mids and trebles. The first one to drown or become less prominent is the drum kicks. I love drum kicks, and it's one of the musical instruments that gives good presence or good muscle when it comes to sound. And drum kicks is sometimes almost non-existent on some of my tracks. I don't listen much to EDM music, so the lows of my playlist, especially the drum kicks, quickly drowns compared to other frequencies. Next is the bass guitar, which is also on the lighter side of things. While it exhibits good texture, it quickly drowns also compared to the presence of the instruments on the mids and on the vocals and the details on the trebles. Now, the lows here are still good, and you just have to give them some brain in, if you must. That you have to get accustomed to the way it is presented compared to IEX. So you have to make some adjustment and maybe give it a day or two so that you would cope up, or your hearing or your brain will adjust how lows are presented here. Moving on to the mids. The mids are the star of the show here. The DX6 exhibits good presence and good texture on the mids. It has a sweet spot for acoustic or electric guitars, any kind of guitars. So if you're a guitar player or maybe a lot of your tracks consist of guitar instruments, you're in for a treat here. Next is vocals, another strong point for DX6, which exhibits or are presented in a very engaging and intimate manner. Though the vocals are leaning to the female gender rather than the male, still both genders are presented very, very beautifully. Well, on very rare occasions, the male vocals sometimes have this boxy sound, but don't fret. It's just like 2% of my playlist that I kind of noticed this. So mids are very forward here, and it's very rich and lush, well detailed, and has good crisp and transparency. Okay, straight to the point, trebles. Trebles is not sibilant here, and there is no encounter with any of my tracks that I grinned or the trebles make me want to pull out the DX6 out of my ear. Actually, a lot of the details like bells, what else? Trumpets, especially brass sections. I have many tracks from Earth, Wind & Fire, and the brass section is just full of life, very lively and energetic. So the top here, even though I can say that it's a little bit tamed, is very well executed. It has good details. Macro and micro details are beautifully presented here. And next to the mids, the trebles is the strong point of the DX6. Now, I would like to note that I tried, because the DX6, the cable of the DX6 is a modular cable. So I tried it on the 4.4 millimeter output or termination, and I must say that the overall sound presentation was improved by like 20 to 25%, especially the lows. As I've mentioned a while ago, I have some qualms on the lows because it easily drowns out compared to the other frequencies, but on the 4.4 balance, it sounded really great. But the sound presentation, as I've mentioned, is still stayed intact. It's just the whole presentation was improved greatly on 4.4 balance. So if you have source or a dongle or a DAP that has 4.4 or even 2.5 millimeter balance output, I would suggest that you feed these babies a little more juice than the single-ended 3.5 millimeter. Now moving on with some fitting and isolation. right off the bat, we know that earbuds is poor on isolation. As I've mentioned, I don't want to repeat myself, but it just sits just right outside our earbuds. So here it is when it's worn. It could be worn like this. See, nice. And it can be worn over the ear, okay, like this. Okay, it sits nicely, and with the foams, it has a good grip. Now, if you notice, even though if I casually move, the earbuds don't really budge up, and I think they have good grip on your ear. But it all depends on the size of your ear or your earlobes. But for me, I have no issues, yes, even if I casually move. So fit and isolation is pretty decent here for an earbud. Now moving on to technicalities. The BGVP has very good technicalities, and actually it can compete with some of my IEMs on the mid-range or on the $200 mark. So let's get a move on. First is Soundstage. Now earbuds, the Soundstage is really not comparable to IEMs. Earbuds have very wide and expansive soundstage. The height is very good, it's very decent. I mean, I can hear instruments that is above the head level. The depth also is very good. I mean, the drums is like pushed back at the back of my head, and the vocals have that sense of forwardness, and the instruments are just around. It feels like you are watching a live performance compared to IEMs. Now next is imaging. Imaging is quite precise here, and I can say that this will benefit musicians like me that is deciphering songs, like listening to their parts like piano, and then orchestral part, brass section, organ, guitars. You can easily follow what you're supposed to follow. And then the speed is also very commendable for a DD setup, for a dynamic driver setup. I didn't feel any sluggish character, and even though on my fast pace or complex or busy tracks, the DX6 can really keep up. Next is resolution. Resolution is very impressive on the DX6, and I think it's one trait that earbuds share in common. And because of the prominent presence of the mids and trebles, the resolution of instruments are very intricate and very detailed. The small nuances are captured by the DX6, and I was quite surprised that these earbuds perform well on these terms. Conclusively, DX6 is a very capable set, fast, snappy, and quick for a DD configuration, and I think if you're a technical oriented listener, DX6 will not let you down. Now onto the verdict. You see, I'm making it fast because I actually, as somebody told me that I should try to keep my videos maximum 10 minutes. So let's get a move on. This is my first earbuds review, and I think the DX6 really surprised me in a lot of ways. It is a very technical, capable set, and actually the tone and timbre is very natural. And my only caveat is that lows that is sometimes, especially the drum kicks, that sometimes is non-existent, which I look for. And aside from that, everything else is really satisfactory. So whom will I recommend the DX6? I will recommend them to neutral heads, and I will recommend this to those who love details in their music. I will recommend this to those who love vocal tracks, especially female vocals. But don't get me wrong, the male vocals are still well presented here. And those who love jazz, instrumental, and orchestral tracks, I think the DX6 has a sweet spot for these genres. Rock genre is not the best genre for this, because I think you will look for the thunderous slam, especially on the drum kicks. But you know, it's my preference against yours. And treble heads will love the details on the and energy on top. And also, treble sensitive will not complain on any sibilance here. This is an eye-opener for me because this is my first earbuds review and experience, and I think that from here on out I will be on watch for future releases of earbuds, reputable earbuds that I can review. So this concludes my DX6 review, and I hope that my review has been helpful, and I hope I didn't take much of your time. And again, just a friendly reminder, love the music than the gear. And of course, your mileage most likely, I mean vary. Sorry, my English got caught up there. So catch you on the next one, and if you like the content, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing, or please consider it sharing, and see you on the next one. By the way, the next one is a good treat also, another milestone for me. It's a premium dongle from Style, and it will be up maybe a week from now. So bye bye, thank you so much.